pair of leather pants, and I am actually going to make these with the corset that I just draped. I'm going to label them all, and so I'm going to add a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around on each piece. Clear ruler. I'm going to put it on a 1/2 inch out, and I'm going to trace it all around. And I'm also going to connect these first. Okay, what I've done here is I've aligned a 1/2 inch. I put the ruler where it's 1/2 inch, and I put it on that line. And then I'm gonna make the seam allowance a 1/2 inch out. And so I'm gonna trace that all around the entire pattern piece. And see that? That's where my 1/2 inch is. On this little side panel, it does angle just a little bit, so I'm going to use my curved ruler when I connect these lines so that I can get an accurate fit and height contours to the body. Now I'm about to draw my 1/2 inch seam allowance on this one also. I've labeled them, but you also want to put a little notch on them so that you know where the pattern pieces fit with each one. So this far, therefore I know where they belong on each pattern piece, where it fits where. Alright, I have the pants laid out, and I have pattern pieces. I put the pants inside out, and then I just kind of pull the lining up. And so what I have going on here is I'm going to cut layer by layer. I'm not going to cut two at one time. I am going to trace the pattern piece around, and then I'll get to cutting. Alright, it's traced. I'm just going to keep it there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out my first pattern piece. Again, I'm cutting layer by layer so I'm not doubling up. Alright, and my first pattern piece. Open the pants up. So now I'm going to cut the other side to fit this. So be careful that you do this carefully, because if not, you will end up with two, you know, of the same size, and they have to be opposites. All right, so now I'm about to cut into this to give me the other side. Front piece of our corset. So I'm gonna go ahead and write this one. It's number 1 also, and then I'm gonna make sure the notches match so that when I put it all together, I'll know which side is which. All right, time for our next pattern piece. All the leather pieces have been cut out, and so now I am going to cut out the lining, and on this I'll be able to, you know, cut it all out on the fold, because it's not the leather and it's not the thick pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and match these up, turn one of these over, and go ahead and cut all this out on the lining. This is, I'm cutting on the fold. Not on the fold, but I'm cutting, sorry, not cutting on the fold, but I'm cutting with these together, folded over. Alright, I have sewn together the lining, and now I'm about to go ahead and move on to the leather pieces and sew those together. And with my lining, I am going to just tack this down and make a casing out of the seam allowance. Literally, oh, excuse my nails. I swear I never have my nails done when I do these videos. Ah, shame. But anyway, so I'm going to actually tack this down right on the edge, and that's where I'm going to make my so I can put my what is that thing? Good Lord, the boning in. Good Lord, I can't get it together today. All right, and so I'm going to do that to each one of these. I'm going to tack it down right near the edge, then my bonet's gonna stick right up inside of there. All right. I have sewn down the leather and the lining. So now I'm just gonna connect the lining to the leather and go from there. But first, before I do that, I am going to connect my separating zipper to the ends first. And I'm gonna show. It's time to put the zipper on. As you can see, my zipper is way too long for this corset. So I'm gonna shorten it. This is a separating zipper. So what I am going to do is I am going to lay it against the garment. I'm going to align it at the bottom. I'm going to come up and then I'm going to mark it where I need it to be cut at the top of the garment. So I'm going to actually cut all of this off. I don't need it. So I'm going to zip this down some. I've marked it on both sides where I'm going to cut it. And then I am going to remove an inch of teeth and just kind of, you know, make it so this thing can fit. So the way I'm going to remove my teeth, I'm going to remove it with a little bitty snipper. So wire cutter, little snipping thing. So I'm going to show you guys first how I'm going to remove them. Just going to go in really close, snip, snip, go to the other side, snip that off, bam. But that part is going away anyway. I just wanted to show you guys. So I'm going to grab not my fabric scissors, because you don't want to dull those or damage those. Okay, so remember, line it down there. I've marked on the chalk where I want to have it cut. Make sure you don't zip it up after that. And bam, cut it off. Cut it off. Not going to move that zipper up because I do not want it to come off. Remember, you're cutting from the top of the zipper, not the bottom. So after I do that, I'm going to move that down. I'm going to mark down an inch. And that is where I'm going to pull all the teeth out from there above. Marking down an inch here. And I'm going to pull out all the teeth from there above. So I'm just going to snip them one by one. Waiting for that to happen. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these teeth down to my inch, and then I'll show you the next step I take. I removed all of those teeth, left an inch up. So now I'm just going to take needle and thread, and on the part where the zipper comes off, I'm going to just whip stitch it to stop the needle from flying off the track once it's separating, you know, so the zipper won't break. So I'm just going to whip stitch. I'm going to go around. And I'm using a thick nylon thread for this, the same one I did to sew the leather on. And I have the knot on the wrong side of the zipper. And I go around quite a few times because I'm extremely annoyed about it not being right. So I gotta have that stopper there because I don't have an enclosement. So boom. All right, gonna take that zipper apart, and with your garment face up both ends, you are going to lay your zipper down. The part with the teeth goes face down. Make sure the zipper part's face down and the teeth are facing inward towards the garment. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Face down, teeth facing inward. Then, because leather is so tough and you don't want to make holes in it when you sew it, instead of sticking pins in it, I'm using hair clips. So I'm using the hair clips to keep the zipper in place. The zipper is in. And because I'm so paranoid about it, even though I did put my whip stitch, I did add a little bit of hot glue gun to it also, because I really don't want it to slip off. So this guy, I did a double protection. Woohoo! Look at me now. So, oh, wait. Forgot. My seam lines on the corset are sticking right up, which can cause puckering, or cause it to, you know, just poke out underneath the lining. I mean, poke out when you put it on. So, I have a leather craft, the leather glue, but you can also go down and put your presser foot on that seam line and go down on the side of it and stitch it down on each side to hold it down. So basically you would sew presser foot there and just sew down each side. But I chose not to do that. I have chosen to use the glue because I just didn't want the extra seam lines. I put a light layer of the glue down, then I pressed it. I actually put my weights on it, and then I pressed down some more. So I'm going to show you how I did it. And then I also clip the edges to make it, I'll do this one over here. I started with this one. I just clip the edges just to make it a little easier when I'm sewing. So when I be careful, you're just cutting a little angle off right down to the snip. So when you're sewing down, it'll be less of a bulk and you don't have to go through that glue. Then when it bends over, it's a lot easier when I connect that lining to it. So what you're gonna do here is put a light layer of glue. Same thing on the other side. Pull it a little bit, making sure that I don't have any gaps in there or any space. Then I just kind of lay the weights on it for a few, press again, and then I'm going to do that for all of them. Before you attach the lining, I'm going to iron those seams. Everything in the middle, everything to the right goes to the right, and everything to the left goes to the left. And in the middle, you're going to just open that seam up. So I can build the casing right onto this lining. This has all been glued down so that seam is wide open because we want this corset to lay neatly as possible. Well, look, I've already worked on the lining and put the casing directly, made the casing directly out of the seam line. So next thing up is to go ahead and insert the boning. With the boning, I want to leave at least ½ inch or on each side at least, or more, depending on you just once you put it in there, because you do not want your sewing machine to catch that boning and tear your machine up. So go ahead and insert the boning right to the casing that you made directly on the lining. All right, we have inserted our first piece of boning. So go ahead and insert that on all of it. If it's too long, just snip it off. Boning is all attached. What we are going to leather down, and then we're going to lay the lining on top, right sides together. We're going to match up the seams. Clips, if you have any, you can use tape, whatever you have. We're going to match the seams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch along the top of this in about maybe ½ inch. Stitch along the top of that, matching the seams. When I get here, I'm sewing in the ditch, I am literally going to sew this in and stop. Then I'm going to start from this end and then go inside that ditch. We do that so it won't pucker when we turn it over. I have attached the lining. I matched up the seams and attached it together. So now I'm going to turn it inside out. This is the next step. And don't forget, sew down. So when you sew this down, make sure you go down. I went down about I went down about ½ inch to keep that, you know, separate. Just go down and undo it and sew these separately. Actually use my seam ripper to take out a few of the stitches because it was a little too stiff when I turned it over. Make sure you have that space so that there is no puckering when you turn over. I'm literally going to turn it over to the right side, so facing up, and I'm going to take the presser foot of the sewing machine and put it right on the seam allowance. And I'm going to sew right next to it and have it opened up wide, and I'm going to sew that lining right down to that seam allowance so that it won't slide up. Done that top stitching so that when I open it up and I sew the lining directly to the seam allowance, so to stop that lining from lifting up when you wear it. The bottom part of it. All right. So again, we're gonna push that boning up so it is out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and match the bottom seams. Sew the bottom of it. And so now, just gonna turn it inside out. Okay, once you flip it to the right sides, go ahead and adjust the boning and make sure it's all in place. All right. To sew these, to close it up, you are just literally going to flip that inward. Flip it inward. If you see something a little white there, a little residue, I had to use some Fray solution. I used this. I got it from Joann's. But I had to use that because this lining I used, I just grabbed the first lining I saw in my drawer and I shouldn't have. So I get it to go. It's gonna turn in like that, and the zipper will be exposed. So do both ends like that, and then we are done. I'm going to use my clips again. What I'm going to do is just situate the presser foot right there against the little coily part. And then I'm just going to go ahead lift this up, and then I'm just going to slide the zipper back. And here we have our top stitching where we're holding our zipper in place.